more like this. Somewhere in there. This is supposed to be like an old radio filter.
Save and
Turn that
continue.
I don't like the way it sounds.
Not want to activate.
That's cool. Are you using it for D&D?
Using it for D&D. We've set up kind of a podcast studio in my room. I'm going to be doing some music recording and whatnot with it as well.
Cool.
Gonna have all the things going on.
All of the things. We like all of the things.
Indeed. Connect viewers, yes.
I've been doing more photography, and I actually got some of my work exhibited in Barcelona.
Nice.
So that's interesting. There's another competition that I could exhibit my work in, but it would be a digital display, and I forget where it's at, and I just didn't pay. Like, you have to pay for an application to put in for it, but I already got enough votes on what I put in that I could exhibit it somewhere else.
Gotcha.
I think I got like 38,000 votes,
Why is that?
which is cool.
It should be going at this point. Why is it not going?
It's hard to do photography when you don't have a computer to edit or do anything with. And doing edits on a laptop is... It's doable, but it's not my preferred.
Yeah.
Yeah. My laptop has a 1050 in it. I mean, it's doable. But it's only an i5, and it kind of...
Got that figured out, Brian.
Okay. Okay, you got that figured out.
Yep.
Good.
Much better quality now.
Much more better.
Much more better quality.
All right. I want to send messages and see if things are doing the workings. Test. That's sent to Discord. Here. Yes, that is a test from Twitch. I am going to go to my channel, which is live, and have a test there.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Test. Which is not coming through. Oh, there it is. It just took time. All right. We're going to test. And that's from Discord. All right, and the last place is a test. You can do it. Believe in you. Okay, yes. Everything should be... Yep. The things are doing the workings. And okay. Alright, so ideally I want to use this chat. Yes. Ideally, I would use that chat. Which means that I should pull it over here. Okay, Wagner. I am currently streaming and recording.
Yes, sir. I'll start recording when we actually do stuff, but
Okay.
I doubt that I'll send out anything to anywhere of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just test the things and whatnot.
Exactly.
Um,
The audio and the quality and all that good stuff.
yes. All right.
For mine, I'll just have my own webcam here. Just got it set for myself in the corner, just covering up the play button. If you care at all that I'm covering up of it.
Okay.
But,
I will keep that. I think that's actually where I have my my cam as well. So
Yeah. It's a typical area.
yeah. Don't show warning again. Continue. I am wanting to just do the checkings of the sensors and things as I go.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm fairly certain we've been here for over 30 minutes, yes?
Yes, it popped up. It actually popped
Okay.
up right up here, right at the home button. And I drug it off onto the other screen, and so we will see where it pops up next. So,
Right.
okay. So I am definitely pushing the CPU.
Right.
Let's do a task manager and performance.
How are you pushing your CPU?
Streaming and recording and
Yeah.
remote desktoping.
All
What CPU do you have?
770 or 7700K i7. So Kobe Lake. That I am overclocking to 4.8.
So basically, great for video games, not for streaming.
Basically.
Yeah, basically. But by pushing, I mean that my cores right now. Where did those go? There we are. So my 4 cores, 94, 96. That one just popped to 188 degrees Celsius. And 100 is what they should be having
Terrified
as
of what
max.
my temperature is running with this pump.
Yeah. So,
I have a Ryzen 3900 XT, which is a 12-core, 24-thread processor that I have overclocked to 4.2 gigahertz. It is hard to hurt this. It's not as
Good.
fast as
All
yours as far as its clock speed,
Yeah.
but it has a lot of cores. So when I stream and do multiple things, it doesn't affect me at all.
yeah. All
And
right.
4.2 gigahertz
to
is
do
good enough
that.
for what my graphics card can do for anything else, just about.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm pretty sure if I try to like heat this and my pump accelerates, it might explode. So it doesn't do me much good now,
Yeah.
does it?
Nope, not so much. All right. Wagner,
Yes.
from here,
Yes.
I am good to hit the play button and figure things out, or honestly, let you take control of what we go. Are we ready to get into a match? Or
That's a great question.
Where are we
Well,
at?
before you actually get into a match, you might want to, figure out what sort of decks you got, what sort of cards you already have. Obviously, if you've been a more free-to-play player than, most people who spend money in microtransactions, then you're going to have fewer cards than most people do.
yes.
So if you want to show me what deck you like playing the most, I guess, at this point, and
Well, that depends on
or at very
what my
least
dailies
towards
are.
the
blue and green
yeah.
spells. All right.
right.
That
Now,
is
is that the one you want to do, or do you want
that
to do
is-
the red-white one specifically?
I don't. Oh, they did swap. What did that used to be there? And like I haven't refreshed or anything. And
That is very odd. I don't know why that would be.
yeah. Okay. So yes,
that's
red, white because that knocks out the 750, and obviously I'll get the 500 done in that amount of time as well. We'll save the blue green
Correct.
for later. All right.
Yep.
So red and white.
Red and white, or just red, or just white, as long as it does not have blue or green.
Yes.
Could even have black.
I am fine doing the red and white. To give you an idea, this is, I think, the third day that I'm going to be actually playing, and basically what I've done is said, all right,
Okay.
what colors am I looking for? Let's play that
Yeah.
deck, because I
Okay.
don't know what there is. I don't know.
Sure.
I am typically a blue player. Blue, green, blue, red. I had fun with spell power, but these are all just the pre-con decks.
Yes.
Even to the point of the previous decks that I have. These
Right.
are all just the pre-con decks.
Yes.
So you can see that this is the last time I played.
Right.
And I haven't really gotten into it a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I am good kind of doing whatever
Okay.
you think needs to be done.
So it looks like of the colors that we're talking about here, you've got obviously the Company of Knights one that is both red and white. There is Goblins Everywhere, full red, and there is Keep the Peace as well at full white.
Correct. Could also
Okay.
go anything basically that is not the blue
Right.
green. So life skills and line of fire would also open up.
Correct. So just thinking real quick about those archetypes, you've got Knights themselves, which are a tribal aggressive deck. You've got Goblins, which are another tribal aggressive deck. And then you've got the white one, specifically, that'll be what a lot of people refer to as white weenie, being all the small white creatures and all the things that go with them. I'm debating on whether or not we should even look into what cards we could upgrade from the basic ones here and then play with, but
How does
I'm guessing you probably don't have much else. What?
How does view actual like list of cards?
Deck
that I can
list or
get?
cards?
Cards.
So honestly, the best way to look at cards is just to go into a deck.
Okay.
You can either make a new one or just go into one that you already know you want the colors of, for example.
Okay.
So here in your actual collection, as you're beginning to create a deck, one quick thing to note: if you have a preference in how things are laid out, right now your deck list is off to the right side, which is perfectly fine. It makes the cards themselves look a little bigger this way. If you want, you can go up to the far right top of your screen, and there is that, not the options, but right next to that,
Yes.
there is the thing that says change deck layout. If you want to click that and see what it does, it allows you to have your deck list at the bottom of the screen just as a different method of organization. And that'll make more sense when you actually have cards in there, as to what the difference really is. It just lays it out differently. It's just organization.
Yeah. Okay.
So as you're looking at your collection here, you can scroll through, or you can, right or left through your cards and see what you have. Got lots and lots of different things. Most of these are going to be, ones from those actual decks, since you probably don't have a lot of else within standard at the moment, assuming that that's what we're looking at for now.
Yes.
You've got
Whatever.
all of these cards within these colors.
Whatever you feel would be best. Specifically, what I was looking at, and I think I found it just by hovering over this, is if there are cards that I do have some that I can,
Right.
upgrade to type
Yeah.
things. So if there are
Yeah,
recommendations that you have,
I will say for now, if you're wanting to spend some of those, we should limit ourselves to commons and uncommons.
okay,
Don't want to craft any rares or mythics at this point. Simply to make sure that we can do that when we know a deck that we want later.
okay,
Those are the less, ones that you're less likely to get.
okay.
So just helping you understand this layout a little bit more, obviously the white and red colors have been selected here. You could also select the colorless one, and that would give you anything that...
Eldrazi.
Yep, there you go. Anything that is like artifacts or such like that that don't include other colors. Basically, this says, each of these that is being selected says, if it includes white in its color identity, okay, you know the difference between color identity and actual like color cost.
Yes.
If it's in its color identity, then it will include it in what it is showing. So like it would still show white blue cards. It would still show white black cards as long as you have white selected. Even though you had not chosen blue or black, they would still be at the very end of the list with all the multicolored cards.
Gotcha.
So anyways, and then of course, if you want, there is the advanced filters list right at the very end after the
Yes.
colorless, after the multicolored, after the lands. Yep. So in here you have lots of different options, which I don't think we need to worry about right now. Yeah, selecting standard is usually a good idea, assuming that that's what you want to do for the moment.
Okay. I think typically in the past I've had the not collected ticked as well, just so that as I am building a deck, I can see, these
and
cards are
that's just
possibilities.
preference.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
What?
Okay. So, tell you what, just scroll through these just real quick. Give me about 5 seconds to look at each page, and then I'll let you know if there's anything that we should definitely be wanting to play. Just seeing if there's anything that you have that's especially good. But I'm guessing it's mostly all in the decks already.
In that case, a couple questions. A, where are you getting your audio from? Are you getting it from Discord? Or are you getting it from somewhere else?
Yes.
Because you seem like you're relatively delayed, as opposed to what I'm normally used to, you replying and stuff like that through Discord.
I should only be getting my audio and sending my audio through Discord. I'm betting that your computer usage is having a problem there. I don't know why it would be, but I'm betting that's what it is.
Yeah, it might be having fun.
Yeah. I'd be willing to bet if you stopped actually streaming and just recorded, it would be normal. But that's just my guess.
Okay, let's just do a check real quick. OBS is using a good chunk. I bet it's the remote desktop that's another currently 15% of CPU.
The fact that it's
that's being pulled. So
just a little too much at this point.
Yeah. Or I say that may just be that I've got that open. Checking. We're gonna kill that. I'm gonna kill some of these things real quick. And then you should have the ability to control my screen.
Well,
yes. Would that be
at this point? I have lost remote.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
As in, like,
unable to reach the remote computer. This is probably due to the configuration of the network you're using? Question mark? No.
All right, give me
something else.
All right, let's try pulling this back up and this. Let me send you another code. Let's just send that out to the stream chat.
Right?
All right.
Come on. It got rid of my settings. Moments.
Oh, that's fun.
Now I'm seeing your get support page.
And that's the only thing you're seeing?
Yeah.
Now what are you seeing?
Oh, never mind. Never mind. I was on the wrong
Okay.
portion. Just gotta figure out the zoom settings again.
Okay. And honestly, if it makes more sense to do it on another monitor, if while we're doing this, I can set up on a different monitor, that's fine. So,
I don't think it will. Just why did it?
let's see. You are not streaming. You are just recording.
Right.
Sermon. Dance until your physical.
That is very interesting. It's like the size of it has changed now as well.
Huh.
So someone hacked my Epic Games account and has been dicking around on it. I just got it back though. Really annoying.
Not that you'd actually tell me your password, but what's the password so I can get back into it? I mean, it wasn't me. But you should also not
Change my passwords.
tell me your password because I am currently streaming.
Okay, I think I got it back to where it was. Question mark? Moments.
I keep losing my cursor. It flies around my screen randomly, so they're definitely doing something.
Okay, I got it back.
Okay.
Weird. All right, I'm back to normal.
Is you good?
All right.
So
What were we doing?
you
I
were going to
forgot.
try and control my screen and scroll through the cards yourself. To see how well that's going to work for you, and yeah.
How laggy is that on your screen?
All right. So we're currently hovering over pacifism, revitalize, speaker of heavens, shepherd of the flock. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
comes up pretty quickly.
Oh yes, yes.
Okay, it does not for me. That's fine. I've got some form of delay. It
Yes.
seems.
Yes, and that is to be expected. It also may be
Yes.
that I am watching streams. And why is that one saying it's Destiny 2? That is not what that's supposed to do.
That could also be it.
No. My YouTube stream is saying that its title is Destiny 2, and I told it to update, and it didn't.
Gotcha.
So,
All right. Well, let me know when you're ready.
let me take control then real quick. Edit. All right, we'll get rid of that. Bring that back. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this program back up just to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that
1/20/21. So this happened 4 days ago. That's when they got into my account.
Pretty recent.
Yeah, not that fast enough, I suppose. But they changed my two-type authentication, which is odd that they got past two-type authentication. That's a little bit trickier.
okay. So I'm
I'm trying to
definitely
figure out how to
running.
get rid of whatever number. If they actually send it to their phone, that means I can get their phone number, but I can't find where that is saved.
All right, Wagner, you have control.
All right. Because I don't have the greatest of control here in remote desktop. I'm mostly just going to be turning pages and looking at cards and commenting on ones that I see.
Okay.
That'll be the extent of my actual control here.
Okay.
I don't need any sort of zoom or anything like that, so I won't worry about that. All right. On the first page here, just looking through. Obviously, these are 1s and 2 drops within the white color. Ones that I find interesting myself, and more of like. Honestly, the way that I'm thinking through this is almost as if I were looking into sort of like a draft format or a sealed format, saying, what can I make of this that just goes together and can be useful for winning a few games to be able to get some of those dailies done, get some of the actual bonuses towards various different things.
Yeah.
And so specifically here, looking at white, things that I personally like within draft format or such are things like the anointed chorister. My goodness,
English.
all over the place right now. English is weird. Yes, the anointed chorister. That it's a low drop, but at the same time it can be a mana sink later in a match. Personally, I like the giant killer. Being able to tap down the enemy creatures in a limited, format is actually kind of amazing.
Yeah.
If we were looking at a form of life gain deck, then both Light of Hope and Speaker of the Heavens, along with the Anointed Chorister, go really well together, along with the Griffonaries that we have. But of course, there is a actual deck that you have. It's the Black-White deck, Life Skills, that are kind of built around those cards already. So anyway, something to keep in mind as we're going down the list.
Okay.
Other things that I'm just, noticing along the way, Birth of Meletus, you've got 3 of. It's nice to be able to have a form of card draw, and, getting lands out of your deck, in white especially, is a thing.
Okay.
And then Banishing Light, always good to have some removal within a white deck as well. Just a note, if we're talking about Banishing Light specifically, Enchantment Tribal almost is a thing. You've got 2 All That Glitters over there that are quite good with an enchantment deck.
Okay.
An aggressive enchantment deck. All right, turning the page. Let's see what else comes to mind. Getting up into the slightly higher costed things, don't want to spend too much time thinking about these. It's nice to see a single Luminous Broodmoth there. That can be a pretty nice, board wipe protection and such things like that. Baneslayer Angel is always a big threat, but, dies to removal and such pretty easily. Single Elspeth Conquers Death there is pretty nice to be able to get rid of some stuff, crowd control, and, bringing stuff back. It's always been a good card since it's been in Standard. And then I personally am a fan of Realm Cloaked Giant, but we don't have a lot of cards that synergize with it, so not necessarily worried about that. If we were going the life gain route, the Faith's Fetters there make for good triggers on the Griffonary and the I forget what the Black-White Angel is that deals 3 and heals 3 whenever you've been healed for 3.
Okay. Yes.
Anyways.
Yes. Planning that
Glancing
Angel the
through a
other
little
day.
more at red. little bit weird. I'm personally not a huge fan of red. I think you know this already about me.
Indeed, I am
The
actually.
Bone Crusher Giant, the Terror of the Peaks, the Embercleave. These things stand out as being good cards. I personally like the Tectonic Giant, but it, again, needs some actual help to make things work. Going to the next page here, getting into the lands. There they are, the Indulgent Patricians.
Yeah.
Those were the
Yes.
ones that I was referring to earlier. Having a Croxa is nice. Continuing on. I'm personally a fan of Shadowspear. It's just a nice equipment for people that don't have a lot of cards. Haktos is an interesting one, but not a lot to worry about there. He's kind of a standalone card himself. All right, so I've seen what we've got. Honestly, not a lot of huge things that stand out. If you want to go back to your normal decks themselves, just to pick one that we'll start with.
Okay.
We'll glance into it first and then see if there's anything we obviously want to change within the deck list that's there. And then we'll get into some games itself. So, Company of Knights, obviously Knight Tribal. All about getting those small guys out there and working them together to get some aggression down.
You had mentioned the Anointed Chorister as
Mm-hmm.
one that you liked.
Mm-hmm. Makes for a nice early and late play if you've got nothing else.
Yeah.
So, glancing down the list of what we've already got in the deck, cards that stand out to me as ones that we might want to remove specifically are the 2 short swords and the Dub enchantment.
Actually, if I do Fist, is that easier?
Yes, it is, in fact. So you can see now it's organized more so by cost than it is.
CMC.
Just to remind myself, because I don't use them very often, the short swords are an equip of 2, I believe.
Finding short sword. Equip 1.
Equip 1. Okay,
Plus
so
1.
slightly better.
So cost 2. 1 to pull, 1 to equip.
Essentially, yes. But 1 to equip after that.
Yeah.
If I'm looking for things to get rid of, definitely be the short swords and possibly the Dub enchantment.
Okay.
Dub is nice because it does make something a knight, but at the same time, there's not a lot of things that you have that you want to be knights that aren't already knights.
Okay. And the short sword.
Yeah, I would cut at least one, if not both of those.
Okay.
If you would hover over the Weaselback red cap down in the 1 slot.
Yes, thank you. If you could help with the CMC.
Yeah, I'll try to do that a little more often. Okay, so it is a knight and it is a mana sink as well. That's useful. Does not have trample to be able to get its damage passed, so it's really a trade card unless you're already ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about the Grasping Giant up there at 6? I feel like we don't want to be getting up to the 6 CMC costs. Honestly, even the 5s are a little bit troublesome for a deck like this.
Okay.
We're wanting to be much more aggressive, get games finished earlier rather than later. I would recommend removing the Grasping Giant. We'll get something on the lower end of the curve instead.
All right. And I have not removed the short swords at this point. I'll go ahead and pull them out. Or go ahead and pull both of them out. And we can adjust as we want.
At 4 cost, the Fireburn Knights, what are their actual... I know they, use a lot of mana to do stuff. It's
4 mana, gets +1/+1, so is another mana sink, but it's a 4 cost to begin with.
Correct. exactly.
Um,
So
is first
if
and
we're
regular.
looking at cutting more, correct.
So is
If
this
we're
double.
looking at cutting more, then that would be the place I would look.
Okay. So I
so
guess
we'll see.
part of my question is
Mm-hmm.
so we've looked at some of the stuff we're cutting.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically are we interested in putting back in its place?
Great question. Okay. So with a deck like this, knowing that we're looking for the early game aggression, okay,
Okay.
there's a few different things we can think about to make this just a little bit better than it was originally.
Okay.
Since we're in both white and red, if we can figure out anything in terms of card draw, it's a good deal. Okay.
Okay.
Now, looking through your cards earlier, the only things that really stood out to me in that regard were like Birth of Meletus to be able to make sure we hit our play-in drops. But that's not really draw. It's not really card advantage. It's more so, it's more of a defensive card than it is anything else. Birth of Meletus, 2-cost white.
2-cost white. Okay.
Yes. Enchantment Saga.
Why am
It's
I
probably
just
on the next page.
blind? 2-cost white.
There, top left, Birth of Meletus.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes.
So the first trigger on it just replaces the card with a land. The second trigger on it gives you a defender. The third trigger on it gives you some life. So it's much more defensive than it is anything else.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So again, in an aggressive deck, it's nice to have the pseudo card advantage of the replacing it with a land, but knowing that we want to be aggressive, it's not a great card otherwise.
Okay.
That was the only thing that stood out in terms of card draw earlier.
Okay.
So the other things to be thinking about are either simply more aggressive cards than what we removed, or things like removal to be able to make sure what we have actually gets through.
Okay.
Okay. How many of those specific Worthy Knights are there that you have?
One.
Just the one? Yes. Okay.
Just the one.
It's a great card for this deck, but since we don't have any more, we don't really want to craft anymore at this point because we want to save those rare and mythic wild cards for now.
Okay.
If we notice some commons or uncommons that just look amazing for this, be happy to spend on those, but don't want to do the big ones for these basic decks.
Okay. I know we've said we're wanting to stay somewhat away from the higher mana cost. I'm seeing an angelic reward over here with the +3/+3 and flying. Don't know how viable that is.
Probably still a little too high on the mana curve for what we're looking to do here. We're wanting to stay around the 1 to 3 cost, actual threats.
Okay.
Now the flying portion of that honestly sort of makes it like another Embercleave. Embercleave is the finisher in this deck for sure. And so, it's a possibility as another, thing to end out the game. But I think that let's first plan on either some more aggression or something to allow our aggression to get through.
Okay. I'm going to swap back.
And then we'll play a few games and see how we feel.
Okay.
So yes, go ahead.
Have the couple of anointed choristers that could potentially go in. Kind of seeing them as a replacement for the short swords. So if we do that,
there is the giant killer that we can use as something to allow our things to get past, tapping down their biggest creature. The 1-cost giant killer that's there.
yes, I'm just blind. Went over it like 3 or 4 times. Yes. Okay.
Being able to tap one thing down each turn, and if you think about it, we do it correctly, that is 1 at their instep and 1 on our turn. Depending if we want to get in for just a single big swing, we can do so.
True.
So I like the card. Might as well put it in for the moment.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we just notice anything else later. If we had more life gain, the Griffin Airy would be an amazing down there at the bottom left, 2-cost enchantment to create more creatures that have evasion with flying. But that's not very likely because we don't have very much life gain in this deck.
Okay.
Still looking for one more card, so we still have the option of going with one big finisher. But let's turn one page here, and I believe that we're more likely to get use out of like a single target removal spell.
Okay.
So something like another pacifism, which is available to us, or possibly a banishing light, which is at 3 cost. Pacifism's there at the top left.
I don't. I'd have to make.
Directly next to it, there
Yeah, I would
is
have
a
to
different
make one.
version of it that we do have available.
Oh.
Yes. Different version. Different set.
Okay. So literally. Okay.
Yep.
I'm not used to. I.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not used to
Absolutely.
organizing my cards quite to that.
Absolutely.
But yes, makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, either that one or the banishing light down there at the very middle on the right side.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
The only reason to possibly choose that one instead is that it can hit non-land permanents instead of just creatures.
Okay.
So, either way,
Going.
I think we're
back
at something that we can just work with to start off with here. We're not looking to maximize anything. We're just looking to have something that can win some games. And
Okay.
even if not, it's here to play our white and red cards
Indeed.
for our daily quests.
Indeed.
So, should be ready to go, honestly, if you want to just hop into a play game.
Okay.
Actually, hold on. Real quick, I just noticed something. Let's go back to the same deck again. Our land base could use just a tiny bit of work. It's the very first one. Yeah, it moves the most recently used one to the front.
That's That's what it's looking like.
So we have 5 dual tapped lands that come in. That come in tapped, I mean. Sorry, getting rid of my cursor there.
So
The
scry.
scry is kind of nice. The life is not worth the tapped land. So, my opinion would be to get rid of all 4 of the Windscarred Crags, and we will replace a few of those with basic plains or mountains. Knowing that our mana curve is so low here, I believe we can actually decrease down to about 20 lands.
Okay.
So
Which
knowing
is
that
what
that's
we're at
exactly
right
what
now.
we've got right now, we can probably go in and put a few more low-cost either removal or aggression pieces. So I say let's just put another pacifism in, and then at least one of the vanishing lights.
Okay.
Debating on what else.
Was there any in the red that we were?
We could do something like shocks, I suppose.
Okay.
Nice, small, possible to damage face.
We've got that. We've
Low
got the
cost instance.
raging goblins if we're wanting to get a
Right.
haste out there, but I don't know. I am not used to playing standard at all.
Oh,
For those
absolutely.
who
Absolutely.
would be watching now or later or whenever, we normally play EDH Commander.
Yes.
And
Commander
I am-
has been our staple.
yes, and I am a blue player that likes mid to late game. So
I've played enough Arena at this point myself that, I have a decent idea, but I can by no means call myself an expert. Not even close.
yeah, where
Not
I
even
just I play land for turn and then whatever I can play because I have no clue what strategies are in standard at all, which is why we're here in trying to
Exactly.
learn. So
Exactly. Let's just throw in 2 of the shocks at this point, and
Okay.
we'll experiment and see what happens. 1 mana shock. Yep.
all right, so that should be that done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that we've set all of that up, something you and I were talking about the other day as well
Yeah.
was doing the events
Yes.
Are-
Honestly, you might as well just go ahead and do a standard event.
okay.
There's no reason not to. Honestly, it'll get you some new cards that are uncommon or better. Even if we lose all 3 matches in a row and get kicked out of the event right away, that's perfectly fine. We've got the gold to be able to do tons of these, so
All right.
might as well.
And we're good to hit go?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Okay.
This will bring us to the next one where we choose to buy in with
yes.
either gems or gold. And
right.
you can see here the rewards that you can get from however many wins you will get. And then at the spot just above the buy-in cost shows you, it says keep playing until you reach 3 losses.
Okay.
So, if for some reason we win 7 matches without losing 3 first,
Yeah.
then we'll get more than our money back. But
Correct. And that's if we win 2 matches, we get our money back plus 6 cards.
not quite.
No, because
you
this
just
is
get
not.
the amount.
You just get the. It is
Correct.
not okay.
Correct.
So it would be.
It's not cumulative.
Okay, so we'd need at
is
least
singular.
4 wins
Exactly.
to get. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Meh. Still.
Yeah.
Still. Okay.
Still, definitely worth it. Gold from cards.
Now we hit the resign
Yep.
button, right?
Yes, exactly. All right, here we are. We can just press done and
That
there, and then submit deck. There we go. Yep, and that's what we're looking for. We are ready to play. So, with an aggressive deck like this at such a low mana curve, in our opening hand here, we're just basically looking for 2 lands. 3 if we can, that'd be great. But 2 lands, preferably of 1 of each. And then glancing at the mana curve of the rest of what we've got, looks like we've got a 2-drop in Rinrock Knight and a removal spell at 2 mana in the Scorching Dragonfire. And then we've got 2 of our highest end threats, which is both good and bad. So that's fine. It's a good starting hand. It gives us things that we can do and enough land to be able to do all of it. So it doesn't really matter which land you start with. I like faking out with white just to make people think we're weak, which we kind of are, but it lets them think that.
Okay.
At this point, definitely want to play some red, be able to get something out or removal either way. Just as a reminder for myself, is the Scorching Fire instant? It is. Okay.
Is instant.
So we have the option here of either playing the knight or holding back
sitting.
the other to remove something when they play it. Since they are playing red, they are likely to have some early creatures. My suggestion is just to pass turn here, but that's up to you.
I will follow your suggestions. That is that button there. For the time being.
Okay. I'll just kind of try to explain my thought processes as we're going through this first game here.
Okay.
And probably let you just entirely lead the second one.
No. Okay.
So yeah, be thinking about these things. Land doesn't matter. Feel free to drop either one.
I believe that if anything, we're going to have more dual red than dual white.
Yeah.
So
Did he cycle a card? Is that what that was?
he cycled 2 cards, I believe, or maybe it was just the one.
Okay.
Yeah, he cycled
Alright.
2.
Interesting.
And got
Makes sense.
yeah.
Yep. All right. That's his companion card, by the way.
Okay.
At this point, have the same choice as last turn. Honestly, I would just pass it again. The Rimrock Knight is aggressive, but at the same time, we don't have anything else to play next turn either. So,
Okay.
other than the Fireborn Knight as possible. Keep expecting him, since he's playing red, to throw some interesting cards down, but at the same time, recognizing that it is cycling that he's playing, we will want to remove that, by the way. feel
Okay.
free to go ahead and do so
Um,
with the Scorching Dragonfire.
to do that.
It's not the strongest of cyclers, but good to get them out of there as soon as possible. Definitely could have considered saving it for future cards, but at this point we're wanting to spend our mana anyways. So either land works, and then probably the Fireborn Knight this turn, because we can then buff it in the future with other things. Just noting the fact that it has double strike, unless he removes it with something, which is not unlikely in a cycling deck.
Oh, it's a flip land. Okay.
Yep. The Basra's Lieutenant will be able to buff it with a +1/+1 counter, getting doubled off of the double strike. So at this point, what does the Burning Yard Trainer actually do one more time?
Trample haste. Enters. Get another.
That's pretty good. Let's go ahead and drop our mountain, play the Burning Yard Trainer, buffing up the Fireborn Knight. And then we will be swinging in with both, assuming there's no reason not to.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, figures.
Wondered if that's what he had.
Sadly, won't be able to do another, but that's fine. Go ahead and attack. Enemy tapped out and no creatures. Always, almost always, a good time to attack.
Indeed. It is not waiting on me. Okay. I actually want to drag that there, make it a little more visible. Is that another one of those? Yeah.
Yep. To be honest, that's one of the lesser worries. But it does mean, here's one of the greater worries. But it does mean that he'll be gaining some life. Here we have an option. We can either swing in, hope that he blocks with both, and kill both using either the Rimrock Knight using the Rimrock Knight. Or we can go ahead and put the Basri's Lieutenant onto him and hope for the same thing anyways. Honestly, I think that's better. Uses a little bit more mana.
Uses more mana, and if dies, then gets...
Even allows us to buff with the Rimrock as well. Yep. You go down the Burning Yard and then swing in with the Burning Yard. We have the option to buff Rimrock during combat, since it is an instant speed
All attack.
spell there.
One
Yep.
attack.
Expecting the opponent not to block here. We have the option of just getting 2 more damage in if we want. That's very surprising to me. Do we want to get the 2 more trample damage at this point? Probably. Might as well, yeah. Go ahead and Rimrock Knight your Burning Yard to get 2 more damage in.
Over dash. Burning Yard.
Not sure if opponent didn't realize it has trample or just wanted to save a little bit of health. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe a kill tapped card or something.
Right. Drew the land means we can play both the Fireborn Knight and one of our other spells. Pacifism doesn't do a whole lot against the Drannith Stinger. He's very unlikely to be blocking anyways. I'd say go ahead and attack first, and then
Play.
decide from there later. We can attack with both of our creatures. No reason not to. I'm honestly hoping that the enemy blocks.
Okay.
Very confusing to me, but I'm not complaining. So at this point, just play the Rimrock Knight. No reason not to.
Too late.
Yeah, no reason not to.
Yeah, no reason not to.
Only reason
only
not
with
to
haste.
would be just in case they have like a that thing. Not that thing, but the other one that sweeps us. Nothing we can do about the Zenith flares.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. It's just a race, honestly, against a cycling deck to see can we deal enough damage quickly. Thinking back, the only thing that we could have done and did differently would have been to mulligan to get more aggressive. That's really the only thing we could have done.
Okay.
And without knowing that it was a cycling deck, there's no reason to do that.
Okay.
So played it honestly pretty correctly for the deck that we have.
Alrighty.
So I feel like we're ready to go straight into game 2. I'll let you lead a bit more. Tell me what you think, and
Okay.
I'll let you know if there's anything obvious that I think you should do differently. Let's see how this goes.
All right. So I can get Rimrock out. Past that, I need white, and I need double white. I think I need a mulligan here.
I agree.
Okay. All right. At this point, I do have the Anointed Coin Store. I have the Venerable Knight. A couple of them. I think I keep this.
Absolutely. So which one do we send back?
5 cards. You may reveal Knight Armor Legendary. I'm thinking the Acclaimed Contender.
It's just a question between, are we planning to, draw another planes, be able to play the flyer, get, a little evasion, or do we want to make sure if we draw any land, we can, draw another card off the Acclaimed?
Okay. I also have the tap 2 creatures for the instant as well.
True.
So
True.
that's kind of the bigger why I would rather keep that one than the
I'm fine
the
with either way.
Acclaimed. All right. Then I went to drag to library. Yes. Okay. Done. And I get to go first. Yay. All right. So Anointed Chorister or Venerable Knights? Probably the Knight. Yeah, probably the Knight.
Either one works. Definitely more damage that way. The only consideration as a possibility for the other direction is to get the lifelink going in quicker. But since we are the aggressive deck, we would prefer to get the damage rather than the survival.
Okay. So at this point, is there any reason to hold on to my land?
No.
Okay.
Same question, same answer, honestly.
Yeah,
It's
I'll go-
it's
yeah.
either way.
I'll go with one of
Each. Yep.
one of each there.
Something to note, the chorister is specifically not a knight. So if the knight died, you would not have a knight to buff with it. But that doesn't matter terribly much at the moment.
Gotcha.
Yep. Looks like the opponent is playing shrines. You're fine to do that. He'll be looking to...
Brief combat. Each opponent loses number of shrines you control. Okay.
So far, he's only on 2 colors, which is good for us.
Control have menace.
Now I'm confused. He's all over the place.
All right. Might as well go ahead and tap, yes?
Assuming that you want to get damage through, yeah. Not much reason not to.
Might as well all attack.
Yep. We'll take a small amount of damage next turn, but that's not really an issue. So what do you think?
I think I'm keeping it.
Good. I agree.
Okay.
This is a hard choice.
I think I don't attack.
Either way
Either-
works for me.
Either
The
that
only reason
or
to possibly attack would be to
get
send
the
the
1/1
knight
counter.
in to get the 1/1. Right. But my opinion says we probably should not, knowing that we're about to have a
Yeah.
tap. Unless they mill us, of course. That's always a possibility. I
destroy
I-
3, 4, 5.
something that people don't often notice because, and neither do I most of the time. As you were hovering over your deck there for a second, you might have looked up at the enemy's deck and noticed that they have 135 cards in theirs.
Oh. Okay. They are all over the place.
All over the place. Yep.
Okay. So I could technically
Play the flyer.
do
but
both of
not the
these.
tap. There aren't any with 4 or greater.
Okay.
Power.
Well, as in could pull out and then use no because the summon state cannot tap.
Correct. My suggestion is to just play the Burning Yard Trainer onto one of the knights and attack with just that one knight. It's my personal recommendation.
Okay.
They are unlikely to block that because they want to keep their flyer and their draw engine on the flyer.
They
The one in the middle?
yeah, they would have been able to block here though. It would have
Yes,
killed their
they could have blocked, yes, but they would have lost their engine.
Gotcha.
Ooh, Embercleave is nice. Don't know if you're familiar with it. It costs 1 less for each attacking creature you control. Gives +1/+1 double strike and trample. You can play it at flash speed as you attack.
Costs 2 red.
Correct. If you attack with all. So honestly, I would go to attack first, since we can do it at instant speed.
Okay.
My recommendation is to attack with. Go ahead.
I guess this is for each attacking creature.
Correct.
Okay.
I would attack with everybody because you have the option to respond. Depending on how he blocks, if he blocks, we have the option of either buffing with Embercleave or we have the option of buffing with Anointed Chorister. Either one. Allow him to go to blocks to see what he does, and we will respond to what he does.
Next. Forgetting how many buttons there are to hit.
So at this point, we have several options here. We cannot save the knight that's being blocked by the heron, but we can choose to destroy the piper with the knight if we buff that with Embercleave, or we can get extra damage in from the Burning Yard Trainer. So would you rather save one knight or buff Trainer for damage? My recommendation is save the one knight.
That's kind
on
of
the
what I'm
far
thinking.
left. Okay, so on the far left, since Embercleave does give trample as well, we will also get 3 more damage in. So, not much reason
Double strike.
to,
So,
but we can move the Embercleave as well.
okay. So,
So, either one doesn't matter much.
okay.
Now that we've got 3 mana left, what do you think?
I could have tapped.
Nope. This is just the creature half now. We had already tapped.
Oh, yes, that's the way it's doing that thing. Can I do that? No, I can't. Yes.
You can only do the creature.
I can only do the creature. Target creature. This one.
Technically, you could have killed your own 4/4, but that was the only one you could have killed.
2 cards gain 2 life. Put a bottom. Instant. Did not play the adventure, so doing that. Okay.
So not a whole lot of things that you can do here, except to equip the Embercleave to your better creature. And that's about it, honestly.
Okay.
Now, which better creature was a question, but that's the better of the two in general.
Okay, I guess the other one did have the flying, so
Correct.
it is now a 5/5.
So at this point, you can swing with the 5/5 and without any, worry of.
Oh, he could have multiple
Losing him.
block, yes?
He can, but because of double strike, there's no way that he can block to actually kill it.
Gotcha. Okay. So just swing with the 1? Yes.
You could also swing at the flyer and guarantee some damage. Either way works.
Okay. We'll just swing with the 1.
Okay. So, assuming we order our our damage correctly, there is no way that we lose our creature here. But he just blocked with a few, so we kill both. Cool.
Okay. And doesn't matter order, correct?
Nope.
Okay.
In fact, I believe he's just. Oh, never mind. He's at 9, not 6. I thought he was at 6 for a second there. That would have actually put him at death. Not expecting a board wipe, so might as well play the planes and the creature? Not expecting a 4 or more either, and if he does, we can just tap it down anyways, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tap target creature.
Unless he pulls something out of his boots here, he should die in this next turn. Looks like he's trying to get something from his graveyard.
No.
Does have the mana to cast it, but now what, my friend?
Boom.
Yeah. Okay. So you see there the power of Embercleave.
Yes. Yes.
It's a very good card. Very good card. Honestly, one of the scariest cards of Standard for the past close to year.
Gotcha.
If not more.
All right. So anything before I go into the next match?
Nope. Our deck is locked in. We are prepped to go in for more.
Gotcha live.
Any things that you've noticed or anything that you want to ask about or think about?
No, short of that I am having all sorts of encoding lag. That is probably due to stuff and things. I will gonna do this and see
Okay.
if that changes anything. Okay. I kind of say keep, because can shock as reaction is needed. Same thing with the pacifisms. And
Right.
hoping for something at some point, but I've got 3 mana here that I'll hopefully
Right.
make use of. So I say keep.
We've got about a 50-50 shot of it being a creature deck or a control deck of sorts. If it's a creature deck, this is an amazing hand. If it's not, then this is terrible. 50-50 chance.
Okay. I tend to say...
Have good mana, so
Yeah.
probably keep.
Yeah, I tend to say is somewhat decent.
Red here just because we can shock if we need to.
Yes.
And just pass the turn. Another Shrines player. What in the world is going on here? Oh well, whatever. It's fine. Yeah, I mean,
Oh yes. Sorry.
let it
Sorry.
go.
I'm not used to doing all of this.
Having to wait
as
for
of
a
yet.
response,
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
hear
So
you.
planes
Yep.
into anointed.
Yep. Which means we still have the option to shock if we need to.
So I could shock me. Huzzah!
You could. It's true.
Next in turn. Should I be using the pass turn button or stopping at everything? That allows him to know that I have responses, correct?
It does. Either way.
Okay.
Chorister is not a knight.
It's not.
Keep that in mind.
But could just get out onto the field.
Do combat first. You might play the planes, but
Yeah. Okay.
do combat before you play anything else. Does not appear that he has any responses, so just go ahead and play him.
Any
Might as well
reason
go to
not
combat again.
to swing?
Not just swing's fine. Still no responses. Nothing really to do.
Might have been tempted to use the infuriate there.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see if he uses that immediately. If he does, we can use the infuriate to save. Awesome.
Okay. So
So, yeah, we can use it to save our creature.
okay.
Mm-hmm. We can buff with a chorister. Never mind.
Yeah. Okay. Remember that I can do that.
Yep.
Do.
If he targets the chorister, we can save it that way now. But he's more likely to target the other one.
I could shock it.
You could. This is true.
Now buff it.
Buff it, yeah. All right. You gonna do it again, my friend? I'm gonna laugh so hard if he does. I'm betting he does.
Yeah, there it goes. That's great.
He just discarded a Sanctum of All to be able to do that. That is great. All right, yeah, just play out the night. That's fun. He's continually forced to discard things to be able to actually get rid of your stuff, so he's losing massive amounts of value from it. I mean, assuming that we don't get some good creature, then he'll be able to keep us down, but still. And something to keep in mind here is that we are really just playing to complete quests. That's really why we're here.
Yeah.
But
I
I know
find
it can
it.
feel bad.
No. I find it funny that we're literally. Oh, I guess now he gets to not discard a card to kill a
Yeah.
creature.
It's sad. At the opponent's end of turn, we might as well go ahead and use one of our shocks. at their end. So when it says my turn.
Pass to attackers. My turn. So go ahead and use a
Yeah,
shock.
Go ahead and use one. Yep. We don't have enough red to be able to use both later, so
Okay.
unless we draw one, obviously. Well, that's sad. It's okay.
All right.
Just pass turn.
Pass turn.
Ooh. If only we had another red.
Yeah, if only another red. Okay. So pass turn.
While we're waiting, go ahead and hover over Haktos one more time. Okay. And then what is the mana cost of the Sanctum of Shattered Heights there? Is it 4 or 5? I don't remember. Oh, it's 3. Okay. So there is a chance that Haktos would be targetable by it, but that's a nice one to draw right now.
Indeed.
You can go ahead and use that. He'll have to discard 2 to be able to kill it instead of just 1.
Okay. And combat, and I've got nothing, so we just end up turning.
He will probably kill it if he can, but looks like he cannot, or he wants to keep it.
Okay.
And again, here at the end of his turn, you might as well spend the other shock. It's very unlikely for this guy to have creatures to worry about.
Should be able to pull Embercleave out this time, yeah?
Need double red.
I do need the double red. There it is.
Why did he tap that? All right, play the mountain first. Then in the attack step, we will play Embercleave. Before damage is applied, go ahead and play Embercleave. Goodly amount of damage, so we are likely to do very well from this point forward.
And
Okay. That's actually kind of good for us because Haktos is less likely to be killed by that as he was before. What did he get protection, or what did he roll? What number did he roll?
2.
2. Good. So he is protected from the sanctum that was there. Might as well go ahead and play the mountain, and I believe that means we can equip the... Oh, that's right. We won't be able to equip because protection, but that's fine. What is the equip cost on Embercleave again?
3.
It is 3, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is 3.
That's fine. We'd rather have the protection than we would
Yep.
the other. Would have been nice if he had rolled 4, but oh well.
Protection other than 2.
Oh. Yeah. Super close.
Yeah.
That's fine. I suppose go to combat and then buff him. And then... Actually, I don't know if we can buff him.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Creature must attack if able. All attack. 1 attack.
Okay. Might as well force him to either have an extinction event or go ahead and discard to remove it.
Alright, I want to drag that over there and see if that pops up there next time.
Yep.
Okay, and that
No surprise there.
is probably turn. Or probably
Assuming
game.
that nothing changes, we win in 2 turns. Ah, that's sad.
Stuff changed.
Yep. That's fine. We'll just keep playing cards as we get them, keep working towards the quest.
Yep.
Not really any reason not to play it, so.
He does 3 damage at this point. Yeah.
Does not have haste, but
Correct. But as in, he can get rid of it, and even if I equip
Yes.
this, it will not.
yes. Gotcha. Yes. Now, I'm going to make a statement here, and this statement does not imply that I think that shrines are overpowered in some way,
Yeah.
but I will say that I think that specifically the red shrine there would have been balanced better if it cost 2 to be able to do that ability instead. Now that has haste, but we're not going to be able to get to 13 damage.
And he can still do this.
Valid.
If he has a land or shrine.
Correct. Kind of assuming he does, but yes. So, go ahead, might as well. And then equip if you can.
Yeah, there we go.
We are. Yep. So, that is a good game, but that is perfectly fine. Brings us to 2 losses, which is perfectly fine. 1 more to go. I will be curious to see if these games would be enough to finish the 30 cards or not. Looks like it was. Awesome.
Indeed.
We might as well keep going until we get our 3 cards. Tolsmere. Hello, Tolsmere.
I say we keep. We've only got the 2.
I agree.
But I've got perfect turn 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Assuming response.
Turn 1,
So,
2, 3, and Embercleave. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Seeing the All-Seed there, this is possibly a enchantments deck. Typically going to be throwing down a creature with all that glitters or various other enchantments on it, and allowing the All-Seed there to protect it. Slightly surprised that they're buffing and attacking with that. Yeah, just allow that, because now we can throw out the veteran and get even more damage in. And now we've got something that we can throw a counter on if something happens there. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. Well, I suppose, at least in my opinion, Plains, Chorister, Pacifism on Blade Master, I guess?
Either that or
Probably
the
our line of play. I partially agree with that, but the fact that he'll still be able to sacrifice it,
it gets rid of the life link,
right?
and
I'm personally more worried about the double strike.
okay.
Playing an aggressive deck as we are, the first strike and double strike keywords can be very problematic, shall we say. Knowing that it's going to become 4/4 next turn anyway, we might as well just
Swing.
throw both of ours. Yep. We're not really getting ahead of the damage curve at the moment, but once we get
Fireborn.
once we get Embercleave out, that should change as well. Do you mind right-clicking on the War Leader, please? The Leonin War Leader that he just played. Thank you. So we are at the point that we can play the Embercleave on attack if we want, but we are also at the point of being worried about our life total.
Yeah.
Definitely the Plains. Probably the Fireborn. Meh. Not a lot of good options, but it's probably our best choice.
I could do after combat and see how he responds.
What do you mean?
Like, go to combat and then play Fireborn second main.
Are you thinking to attack?
Should I? Should I not attack here?
Well, if we do attack, we're likely to just die.
Okay.
They're looking at sending 12 power against us this next turn.
Okay. Nine. 5. 8, 9.
2 from the War Leader and 1 from the Aspirant.
Okay.
The War Leader will create 2 more.
attacks.
The Luminarch
Yeah.
Aspirant will create 1 more.
Okay.
Ah, lovely. This is odd.
Has 1 white.
Right, so can sacrifice the All-Seed to protect something.
Okay. Can kill Elseed, Luminarch Aspirant.
Yeah. And one of the
Yeah.
1/1s. Yep. Go ahead and do that.
Technically, I can take out both of the 1/1s, but then I'm losing.
Correct.
My
You should
Chorister.
keep the Chorister for now. We're not immediately dying. Curious to see if he saves his Aspirant or if he okay. A little bit odd, but I mean, sort of makes sense.
Okay. And I cannot cast Embercleave. Single mountain.
Correct. Don't have the 5 mana to be able to buff Chorister. Wouldn't really matter anyways. So honestly, not
both.
much to do here aside from play both. Yep. Up to you if you wish to attack. It's not going to make a difference this game.
I could get the lifelink at least.
True. Could definitely do that.
I could use it as a blocker, but
Mm-hmm. Have one already.
yeah. I could use it as under that. 2 1/1s. And that I'll end up losing 1 if I block. 3, 4, 5, 6 attacks.
Okay.
I'm kind of thinking I throw these under the War Leader.
Yeah, most likely. Seems like the best course of action at the moment. Neither one will live, but that's okay.
Yeah. And then
Just the 2 1/1s. Easier to continuously block a single creature than it is to
yeah.
block a board. GG! All right. Time to see what we've got.
Indeed.
Time to see if we get anything that makes us want to play a certain deck in the future.
Indeed. All right.
Let us claim our pride.
So we're hanging on to that.
Did you
that.
did you claim prize?
Yes.
Should have popped up with the cards if you did. They weren't packs, they're cards.
Correct. But I got this.
Earlier from the Mastery Pass.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if. Do that.
Okay. It's a fairly nice red flip card there. Go back to standard event. Very strange. It should have shown us the cards.
Indeed.
All right. Well, if you'll head to decks anyways, it should show some like things that we own for the first time. Before you hover over anything, it should show us all of these firsts here. So it looks like
Relic Vial.
Relic Vial, Duskfang Minter,
And the Blood Chief's
and
Thirst?
Furious Rise
Ah, Furious. Okay.
were the ones that we got from that.
Interesting that it didn't.
Mm-hmm. Duskfang Mentor is interesting in a way. Furious Rise is a fairly good red card, as is the Valakut Awakening that we got. Even the Grotag Night Runner is not terrible. Cool.
Alrighty. No.
All right, so what do you think?
Yes.
I know that one of the things you mentioned as we were going into this was the aggressiveness and standard itself.
Yes. Yes,
I feel like you got a decent introduction to it there.
in white red. What?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Got to see a few of the things that you can go up against. Got to see a few of the things that you can use in such a deck.
Indeed.
Got to see what the tempo of an aggressive deck can be like, although this is not the fastest. Put it that way.
Yeah. So. Anything else that I should do on here as a daily before saving this one for a reroll tomorrow? Since there's no reason to do it now.
It's a good question. The only other thing, those things. The only other thing really to think about as dailies are those other two that say 1 of 15.
Yeah.
Now you'll notice that is the one that we won, no pun
Correct.
intended.
Correct.
That is
These are the
actually counting
wins.
towards that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It would be good if you can do, the first 3, I think it is.
That
3
would
wins
get
a
you
day.
That would at least get you your weekly. Okay.
Correct. But that'll get easier and easier as you start crafting a better and better deck. Now, as you can see with the gold that we've gotten just today, we've gone up
Yes.
by 1,200 gold.
Yes.
Okay. So even if you're continuously playing standard events and getting more and more cards, you're typically going to be, breaking even or so with a average deck and decent play.
Okay.
So essentially, the more time you put in, as long as you have those, 15 daily quests to go, you're just getting more and more cards the more and more you play. But just depends on how much time you want to spend, honestly.
Okay.
If you want to just do a whole bunch in one day and not worry about it for the rest of the week, aside from the actual daily itself. Honestly, the more and more you do within the week, I think that the returns are diminishing a little bit, but I could be wrong in that. So me, myself, and I typically just do the major daily of the day,
Yeah.
and any wins that I get are kind of a bonus, kind of an extra little thing.
Okay.
If I'm just enjoying a deck, or if I find an archetype that I like, or an idea that I want to start building towards, I'll usually spend a small amount of time looking into it itself and that sort of thing. But
Okay.
once I get to something I like, then I play that deck even more and more. If you'd like, I can share my screen and show you a deck that I crafted way back when that I enjoy enough to, play and get wins within the week.
Okay.
Takes a little bit of time to get there with the cards.
Yeah, I know previously when I played, and I'm clicking all sorts of things. Jungle Secrets was what I
Yes.
enjoyed. I liked the Merfolk. I
Sure.
modified this one somewhat to fit. But it looks like there's not a whole lot of...
Most of these have rotated out of standard specifically,
Yes.
but you could still play them in historic.
But it could potentially update to standard if... But I don't know how well that would...
Right.
If I wanted to go with another Merfolk deck in
Right.
in Simic.
There has not been very much Merfolk specific support recently,
Okay.
but you could make something to a similar vein, yes. A similar vein recently would be the Rogues in blue-black mostly, but
Which,
blue.
honestly, no, not what I wanted to hit. The blue-black, you said, Mutation Station. But that is not probably Rogue setup.
Correct.
Okay, so we've got a little more time. I wouldn't be opposed to select format standard. Now, traditional standard versus standard? Question mark?
I actually don't know the difference between those two. I'm assuming there really isn't a difference. At this point, at least.
I'm seeing that things are potentially changing here. So, let's see here. We've got Core Store, Charm Stray, Fairy Godmother.
So the charm
Got rid of the
Stray
Charm
is gone.
Stray, which to me
Interesting.
means, and here is probably where this is going to come in.
Oh,
Correct.
The arena specific
Yeah.
starter deck cards, the ones that only come in that. They're not from an actual set. They're from
Okay.
the arena starter decks.
It also may be the art.
Right.
I'm not sure. So an example, having a dub from
Right.
current expansions versus having a dub from previous expansions.
Right. Yeah. It could be.
So, anyway. All right. I don't really care standard versus. Now, how does Brawl compare? Is Brawl the...
Brawl is the 60 card commander
Okay.
within standard.
Within standard.
Yep.
Okay.
Singleton is the 60 card singleton within standard.
Okay, so all of this is still within standard.
Well,
Well,
historic
short of the-
is not.
Yeah.
Limited is not. Artisan is not. Hopper is not. Just traditional historic is not. Direct games can be anything. Yeah, anything within arena, essentially.
Okay. So, looking at Demir,
Mm-hmm.
because assuming that, but yes, you mentioned that that's where the rogues were at, and
Right.
in standard, this is probably the play style, either blue black. Well, it depends. Blue black,
black or
blue
blue
white,
green.
or blue green, or
Right.
well, or blue red. As long as there's blue.
Yep.
Blue red for typically more of the spells. Blue black for typically more of the. No, that's not going to work the way you want it to.
Right.
Blue green for the creatures.
Mhm.
And blue white because might as well.
Yep.
Okay. So this is what I have,
Right.
which just for the fun of it.
The
Actually,
core
if I do it
cards.
that way, that I guess that would actually Now the next question is, when does Kaldheim come out?
Kaldheim comes out. Well, I know the streamer event is on this Wednesday, which
Okay.
means I believe this upcoming weekend. I could be wrong. Let me look it up myself. I will check and see.
Pre-order until January 28th.
It'll be released on Arena February 5th.
February 5th. Which is going to be what? A week and a half, close to 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, I'm probably not going to be doing a whole lot of play. Just scroll. Okay, there's my click and drag.
The next rotation of Standard will happen in September 2021. September 2021. With
So-
the Innistrad Werewolves release.
Okay. So Kaldheim will just get added. Well, but honestly, Kaldheim. I'm gonna wait for Kaldheim. That's what we're gonna do.
Yep.
I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of stuff
Yep.
until Kaldheim. So. Helps if I can spell. Helps if I can still spell.
A little bit.
Okay. Deals damage to player, draw a card. Return target online permanent. Flash flying. Can only block creatures with flying.
For the moment, let's not focus necessarily on rogues themselves.
Okay.
If we start to get rogues, then we can think about it.
Yes.
But let's look for something that we have first. Looks like you have a decent amount of the simple, cycle my deck, get to things cards, such as Opt at
Yeah.
1 and Deliberate at 2. The
Anticipate.
counter spells and Essence Scatter and Unsummon and various others. You have some Anticipates available.
Yeah.
Even Riddle Form to be able to use those to actually have a threat.
Number of cards in your library. One. Enters the battlefield. Look at the top. That's more of a cycling. Okay. Okay, so popped back up on main screen.
Yeah, that's sad.
Indeed. I mean, I could just potentially move from one screen to other.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
okay. Um,
I'm seeing a decent number of flyers and cyclers. Well, I say cyclers, things that cycle your deck. Counterspells, flying payoffs. Yeah, those are the
Yeah.
ideas that you currently have in your cards.
the other thing that I could potentially look at instead of going the Demir would be to go whenever I was playing dailies the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I have to go all the way back out. The spell power was a decent deck. I enjoyed playing with it somewhat. So could
Good. Use the idea.
yeah, build off of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
To do.
Essentially, the idea is just finding something that you enjoy, that you have a few cards to be able to work with,
Yeah.
build something around it, continue to play until you have more cards, continue to refine, go from there. Sharknado is a pretty good card.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whenever you cast, create, flying. Okay. So yeah, you have to get it out. It's a
Right.
6-drop, but
Lots of spells to get to that point, lots of spells to use that point.
yes.
Yep.
Yes. Anything just off the top of your head thinking.
As in to improve or to look at separately? What?
To improve upon this deck is my initial thought. Or honestly, you know me. Is there
Sure.
anything that
So the only things that come to my mind looking at this deck specifically, that the Storming Entity seems out of place at 5 cost. It's nice, but well, it's better than I remembered. It has prowess to be able to make
Yeah.
use of what you have.
2 CMC
Right. So it's okay. It has a better
instant or
place than I
sorcery?
remembered.
Because I've got
So
multiple 1-drops and then
right. Yep.
multiple 2-drops.
Yep.
So
So yeah, that's acceptable. What else? Anything else? The Vidalian Arcanists at 2 are a little bit strange. It obviously makes sense if you can get it out and use it.
correct.
But, the fact that you typically want to be holding your mana for something at instant speed instead is an idea. Those are very strange for this deck. The
Yeah.
Forbidden Friendships. I would probably remove those pretty quickly.
The only reason I'm seeing them is I don't have a lot of actual creature.
Right.
And so being able to have something that is a sorcery, meaning that it's going to end up sending it to the library, which will help
Right.
with the
Yep.
a experimental overload, the
All the buffs.
double yes.
Yes.
Yes. And still get me blockers. They small blockers to be sure,
Yes.
but still getting blockers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a bad card, especially for that specific defensive purpose. Question basically becomes: is it better than a counterspell? I don't know the answer to that. It can be.
I would argue generally that it is, because your
Okay.
counter spell is going to counter, you know. Oh, I guess he's just making 1/1s, and I don't have an ability to buff them easily. So
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah. Chump blockers versus just getting rid of something.
Yeah, in that case, just getting rid of an actual counter spell would be better in that situation.
Right.
A counter
that is
target
the-
creature spell or counter
Right.
creature or something like that, that's debatable. But a straight
Correct.
counter would be.
Yes. It is cheaper than most counter spells would be that you'd want in that place, at 2 mana cost instead of 3.
Yeah.
But
The secret keepers that are here.
blockers, that's all they are.
Okay.
So, same vein, cheaper.
Okay. And technically could cast for the sorcery first.
Yep.
If really wanted to.
Partial mana sink. The Frost Breath is one that I personally am not a huge fan of, specifically just because it does not actually deal with the threat, it just delays the threat.
Yeah.
So unless I know I have something coming up that will work better, I just don't like it. But again, just personal preference.
So I guess question becomes, what do you have to
Correct.
make better?
So, 2 different things come to my mind. Number 1, actual counterspells. There is the Essence Scatter for 2 that is target creature spell. But then there is Cancel for 3 on the next page that is truly counter spell. Have 1 of the cancels. Over the Frost Breaths, in my opinion, cards such as the Water Knot that is right there at 3 is more of an actual removal of a creature threat than it is a delay of a creature threat.
Yeah. It is 2 blue, but typically if you don't have
Right.
2 blue, you're not going to win anyway.
Typically, yes.
So, water knots. Differences being basics versus the those.
Yep.
Okay.
Just set. I don't know exactly what the Spell Eater Wolverines do.
They are
Gotcha.
decent as far as actual creatures go for a deck like this.
Yes.
The
The weirds.
weirds, yeah. Assuming that you can get them out and then be able to do stuff with them before they disappear.
Correct.
That one we said was decent.
There's a question mark for me within the card that it says double vision. I know that you want to be casting more spells, but a decent number of these spells, if you've already had the 5 mana to get it out, up at 5 mana, the
Yeah.
double vision. Just thinking about copying. Wouldn't really want to copy.
Because you're not. These aren't.
Hmm.
So it would be this.
Mm-hmm.
It
A lot
would
of your
be-
bigger spells would be good for.
Because you don't get a second cast trigger, do you?
I don't believe so, no. So anything that says cast specifically, or anything that says in your graveyard specifically, are not affected by double vision.
Okay, so return target non-land permanents. That would have to be very specific. Dragonfires wouldn't be bad. It does work with Forbidden Friendship. I do
It
know
does.
that.
It also works with your opts and your anticipates and your shocks.
Yes,
And even the sorcery half of Merfolk Secret Keeper as well.
but
But yes,
I tend to agree.
it's very situational.
Yeah.
Now, I did notice that you... Well, hold on. Let me actually read what I'm seeing. Oh, never mind. Never mind. What I was about to say no longer matters.
Don't
We did
have
just
cheap.
open a pack that had a Deliberate in it.
Okay.
Deliberate, I think, is a similar card to Anticipate, which you have 2 in your deck already. You can debate which one is better than the other.
Scry 2, then draw versus look at top 3. And then
The
put
Scry
bottom.
allowing you to leave on top rather than forcing you to put them on the bottom.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to dropping one of the anticipates. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
stop that one.
Yep.
I'm used to having to right-click things.
Ah, yes.
Constantly right-clicking and left-clicking and things. Yeah. Set me back to there.
We could even put a 4th opt in instead of the other Anticipate.
Okay.
They're both
How
good.
how good is Mill? Mill versus Scry.
Mill versus Scry? Mill, well, in comparison to each other, I mean, they're totally separate.
Correct.
Ideas.
Within standard. So looking at the Merfolk Secret Keepers versus the Wall of Runes.
Ah, I see what you're saying.
So both a 0/4, both a 1-drop. The difference is the Secret Keepers also would be able to go on the adventure and mill.
And really, that is the only difference. Okay. The fact that it is a sorcery that you can do for the adventure, that is the difference. In this deck, looking for things that, require you to cast an instant or sorcery, you've got the weirds that get buffed. You've got the Stormwing entity that, becomes lower cost from it. And that's... Oh, and the Riddle form that when you cast it, it becomes a 3/3 flyer.
Okay.
As well as the Shark Typhoon, which would give you a 1/1 flyer if it were already on the battlefield. Those are the only differences with the fact that Merfolk Secret Keeper allows you to cast another sorcery. Not have a sorcery card in your graveyard,
Correct.
but to cast
cast.
another sorcery. Yeah. That is the only difference.
Okay. Because personally, I'm not a huge fan of Mill.
Yes.
It's just not something that I build much
Yes.
at all.
I agree.
And I like the Scry better, but
Yes.
you do bring a point with the sorcery. And I'm also the type of, hey, I have, 1 blue on turn 1. I'm going to play my sorcery and make them mill 4 on turn 1,
Right.
instead of holding on to it and
Not-
saying, hey, I should probably,
Right.
you know, something I need to work on.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, I have that problem myself in Commander specifically. That I want to go ahead and use my cards rather than hold on to them for a better situation. But I've gotten better about it here in Standard specifically.
okay.
It's definitely something that you get better at in this environment.
Gotcha. Okay, so we have looked through that stuff. We've gotten through that. Why am okay? Yes. Cause
Now, just real quick, I will say if you're interested in switching out the Secret Keeper or replacing it, even just playing another opt instead is an option. If you're not worried about the blocker part of the card, then cycling through your deck, actually looking for the good cards that you want.
it is nice.
opt.
Yeah, it is nice to have a 0 for potentially turn 1 if needed.
Correct. Very good against the red aggro decks that are small. Very good against the usual white weenie decks that are small.
So I think I do like having the blocker because I mean a 0/4 is gonna do decent.
Yep.
Not really enchantments. Most of these are looking like we're getting up to
Right. If you're looking for another actual finisher there, just that itself, Kiora Best's the Sea God is a expensive card that does many things. They're at 7 cost.
create 8/8 with hexproof.
It does not have any actual synergy with the rest of your deck. However, it is in and of itself is a good finisher of sorts.
Yeah. Could see that.
If we were to go that direction, even just a Riddlemaster Sphinx would be a cheaper version of a threat. Down at 6.
Blind.
End of the first row or beginning of the second.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I really am blind. Okay. Enters.
Slows down the opponent
Yeah.
and presents itself a big threat.
Yeah,
I recognize that these are not in the vein of the deck.
yeah. I would probably lean more towards Kiora at that point.
There is also more in line with the deck itself, Sublime Epiphany that you have, one of. I think that's 6 mana cost. Yes, right next to Shark Typhoon.
Not good grief. Yes. Okay. Split Epiphany.
Other side.
Yes, there.
Choose all 5 if you wish.
Create a token. Copy of target creature you control. Yeah.
More on brand than the others are, but not necessarily a finisher or anything like that. Essentially, the things you want to think about with a deck like this are: do you have early plays? Do you have ways to get into the later game? Do you have methods to deal with creatures? Do you have methods to deal with an opponent playing a control deck. And then just what is the game plan? Is it just protect a Spellgorger Weird? Is it protect a Stormwing entity? Is it work your way to a Shark Typhoon and then play lots of spells? Is it, there's many different things that you can. In terms of, let me put it this way. In terms of creating a deck specifically to, I'll use the word farm cards within MTG Arena, or to farm gold within MTG Arena. Typically what you want to do is to find a card within the commons or uncommons that you're interested in building around, that you think can, finish games for you.
Okay.
Build around that card as best you can in a deck similar to this. And then just continue to build around it until you have lots of cards that you can, make choices with. We don't need to make very many choices at this point. We just need to find a card that we can exploit, we'll say. And we'd prefer them to be within the commons and uncommons because we can craft those for cheap. Now, I'll give an example of that. You have 2 currently Spellgorger Weirds. All right. Spellgorger Weird, if you're in a deck like this with lots of instants and sorceries, can be a card that ends games. It can be that card. Currently, we have 2 of them. If we wanted to build our deck around it, we would want to craft 2 more, build the deck slightly more so around it, and then go from there. But these are all just strategy hypotheticals, essentially.
See, this is more of my
Mm-hmm.
finisher that I'm thinking towards, but
Yeah, there you go. It's a one-time deal, but yep.
what do we think of these?
I think that they are both good early and good late.
Okay.
Or I should say they are okay early and they are okay late. Put it that way.
Okay.
Not good necessarily, but
I
they are a slightly worse opt, and they are a pretty good mana dump later to get to other good things. In terms of the mana to what's the word? For how much mana you're spending, you're getting quite a lot. They are very efficient.
efficiency.
Put it that way. Essentially, think of them in this deck as a way to refill your hand so that you can continue to buff a Spellgorger Weird, or so that you can continue to use a Riddle Form, or continue to put, tokens out from a Shark Typhoon. This is an enabler card. It enables lots of things in your deck and allows your deck to continue to function. Honestly, Experimental Overload is a similar card. It only gets you a single one back, but the fact that it enables everything else creates a creature that's generally going to be pretty big and gets you something that you actually want. It's a very good utility. I will say that if we're talking about things that we're missing,
3.
the thing that comes to my mind is artifacts and enchantments removal, or prevention. We have a cancel, but that's really our only way of dealing with. And I suppose you could say we have a brazen borrower as well, but that's really all that we have for dealing with artifacts or enchantments on the field. You can't always worry about all opponent possibilities.
Yes.
Kind of have to tune yourself towards a specific direction. And so we've sort of built ourselves to survive against the aggressive decks, and we've built ourselves to work our way to decently large finishers, or build up to decently large finishers, I could say. If the fairies from Stolen by the Fae were not flyers, this would be a terrible card.
But they are flying,
But they are flyers.
which is nice. How are we feeling about the Swiftwater Cliffs? Currently have 4 of them.
Well, we are not a aggressive low mana deck. We are still relatively low mana, but not nearly as much as we were. Typically, if we're playing the instant speed game, we won't be needing a large amount of mana held. But at the same time, if we start the game out with tapped lands, it's a bit of a problem. I'm personally not a fan of the Swiftwater Cliffs in general. In fact, I would personally much prefer even to have what is called a Radiant Fountain instead, which
Okay.
comes in untapped, gives a colorless, and heals for 2 instead. So, and I think it's even a common as well.
The thing I haven't looked at is the artifacts that I have.
Mhm.
Though those don't help me much.
Right. Not much. Like I said before, I am a fan of the Shadow Spear in any deck with a decent number of creatures.
Yeah.
However, we don't have a decent number of creatures.
Correct.
It is very good for the Spellgorger Weirds, and it is very good for the Stormwing entity. But that's about it.
Well, and the experimental overload.
Valid.
give a weird.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I suppose that does bring us up to 6 cards that would use it. And even the Wolverines, I suppose, could as well.
Correct. The double strike
Yeah.
is nice there.
Yeah. So it's a possibility. We could put a Shadow Spear in here. It's a cheap card, and it's cheap to equip. Or relatively cheap to equip. Gives us a large number of things, such as survival and piercing power. I don't know what the phrase is you want to use there. Reach is the incorrect term. We're not looking at flyers, we're looking at getting face damage.
Yeah. Trample. But
Mhm.
yeah.
There aren't very many things in Standard right now that use either hexproof or indestructible, but there are a few. So,
Okay. Because that would be a question of, is it worth it for
Right.
for that.
Specifically for that, no. Specifically for the other things, I think so. For the trample, the lifelink, the 1/1, for so cheap.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of it.
Okay. We can, worst case, put it in, lose some games with it, and decide that I don't like it.
Exactly. You were talking about the Swiftwater Cliffs earlier. I would go down to 2 or less of them, honestly.
Okay.
You really don't want to have them in your opening hand.
Okay. Is this a land token? Is that what that?
No, that is multicolored.
Okay.
Just under rarity would be basic lands, if that's what you're looking for.
Not basics.
Oh, then just outside of this, there's another one. Up at the top next to... There you go. So what are you interested in finding?
Just seeing what all,
Gotcha.
the temples.
Oh,
Having some more temples wouldn't be.
I just thought of an easy one to replace one of those. We just pulled a Valakut Awakening from a pack. That'll be an easy one to replace one of the temples or the cliffs with. It won't be under land; it'll be under the others, but that'll be just one.
FYI, these are the lands that I'm looking at going with for the.
Yes.
Yes.
I am familiar.
Oh,
I have a
I-
stack.
Do you want said stack? Or are you looking now?
I will probably keep said stack. Yes.
How many of them is foils? Because that's the other thing.
None. I think
Okay, I'm gonna be
maybe one. I actually think I have one
okay.
that is foil.
I will
I have
be-
an island and a plains that are foil.
Gotcha. I will be purchasing the.
It is there. Valakut
Foils.
Awakening.
Okay.
It's one of the ones you have. The fact that it can be used either way, is an instant.
Yeah.
An instant for this deck. It's a rare. Probably don't want to craft.
I like the scry though.
I agree. If we were to go that route, I would have actually recommended the pathway, red blue pathway. Instead, it just comes in untapped. Does not scry, but comes in untapped.
Did not see.
Over one. Yep.
That one.
Directly. Yep.
Okay.
So
yeah, okay.
if we were to craft one, that would probably be
So it is the flip.
Better.
So only get one or the other. Wouldn't be able to.
correct.
But I guess this is not planeswalkers. I don't need to constantly be changing
Correct.
what mana I'm looking for.
Yep. When you only need 2 colors.
Yeah.
Yep. You usually only need to worry about choosing one of them when it comes into play. But I would not go for that
For
route
one of my
at this
2.
point.
Yeah.
No. We can find better just commons that we can put in. Speaking of, if you'll continue to go towards the end, towards the colorless cards. Within here, I am looking for
The Radiant Fountain.
yeah. That is what I would recommend, just a straight upgrade from the Swiftwater Cliffs. And it's common.
Yeah.
Very easy
Honestly.
Yep.
It is probably worth getting
Yep.
at least one.
2
if
or
not
3.
more. Yeah.
Yeah,
Common.
I would.
17.
I would for sure. it's just a nice card that just slots in anywhere that you're just like, I don't want to tapped land. You just throw that in instead.
Yeah.
Still have 2 cliffs in there that you can get rid of. In the current deck.
Correct. Just thinking, leaving me
Oh, sure.
those. That is a way of getting 10, 10, technically 11 of each.
Right. In fact, knowing that you have only a single double red card, we can lean more towards islands than to mountains.
Yeah. Let's do that and any.
That is
meeny,
one thing
miny.
that I don't like about the organization of this method. If you put it to the side instead, it'll, yeah, then you have the little spot you can just do plus 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 instead. If you scroll down to the islands.
Oh, yes. I am just more concerned of my art.
Oh, sure.
Look at that. It's Minas Markle.
Yep.
Interesting. So kind of interesting. Enters tapped. Creatures get -2, -0.
There is a common blue one as well. I forget which one it is,
Now,
though.
this one's a counter
Mhm.
target spell, not creature.
Right.
So we were talking that.
Mm-hmm. Definite possibility.
And what were you saying about the common?
Yeah, I thought there would be a blue flip common as well, but I could
There's
be wrong. Those
there's
are both
that
uncommon.
one.
I thought there was another, but maybe not.
I'm not. Yeah. Other lands. Just battlefield. That one wouldn't be bad either.
True. Up to you.
Oh, I kind of like that too, but not for a rare. But those for a common.
Right. Okay. Looks like I was wrong. There aren't any actual common MDFC lands within Zendikar. Surprised I don't see here on your screen. Salundi Vision. Is it on the next page? Or
Yes.
okay. Here are the others. So Salundi Vision's the other uncommon one. It's pretty good.
Okay.
There is also the Umara Wizard. It's probably right next to that. That is a possibility, but an expensive possibility.
Yeah. I feel like that's a direct upgrade. Maybe not quite, but
It's pretty close.
it's only giving me the one there.
It might be worth it to do, if you're thinking about spending 3 uncommons, it might be worth it to do another of the counter spells instead.
I'm either leaning more towards the counterspell or the
Although,
mystic.
yeah, I mean, the Mystic is just common instead, so.
Mystic allows me to pull back from graveyard, allowing me to recast.
Right.
Where this one would do the counter spell.
It's a very situational counterspell as well, so it's not like it's amazing.
Yeah, I guess it is a unless it pays 1.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
It has its moments, but it's not always.
I want to... And whatever. Mystic. Since I'm crafting it, it won't let me just do that. Okay,
Right.
Mystic Sanctuary there. Alright, that gives me my... that of that. Drops me to 7 mountain. And 1, so 8 total.
Mm-hmm.
Skippable Blaze was the only that was the double.
Correct.
And I think
technically we have an extra red in the Valakut Awakening, but yes.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And there you go.
All of the fancy things that do all of the fancy things. I kind of wish that the constellation, I guess they do, actually like glimmer and flicker.
Mm-hmm.
I like the,
Animations.
the animations that are more interactive animations instead.
Right.
So, but yeah. Okay. Drag a card to change image. I care about. Can I drag the weird?
Yep.
No, I can drag,
Oh, no.
but I can't
Gotcha.
drag the weird. I might be
You
able
can
to
do
find a
these.
token. I don't know if they probably don't actually have the tokens, do they?
I doubt it.
I want to see that larger. Because this is the important things.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Okay, where did I see the... That's the one. Bleh.
Hmm.
I didn't say get rid of it.
Rid of what?
Cancel.
What's that?
I went to pull this up to drop there, and just
Somehow
pulled
it
a little
missed.
too far and yanked it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, at this point, I am just having fun with the.
Mm-hmm.
So these are basic islands
Yep.
and basic mountains, 9 and 7.
Gonna make them all look different.
I'm debating. I don't know if I have that many that I feel like fit decently well. That I like. I typically, with my islands, I typically like the more scenic, like what they put in the deck. But at the same time, knowing that this is a spell slinger, then my thought is I'm going to do something along this line. I think it's just really those two that I like. I like that one, but it's too much green. Technically, go this route. Yeah. I just realized that. Nope, never mind. I'm just glancing through things. Okay. Do. All right, now want these. Which ones are they giving me? Yeah. So what are we looking at? What do we like? That is a possibility. go with that to match the blues. Why am I over? Ah,
One too many islands.
yes, one too many islands. Okay. And done. Check
There you
that
go.
out. It only took an hour. Honestly, it only took an hour.
Yep.
Based on the amount of cards that I have, that still might be. But, okay. Now we'll see how often I get to play that in completing my dailies.
Right.
But curious just what the theme is, why they're calling it this starry-eyed. Honestly, it looks more
Enchantments
from the-
and flyers.
Okay. I say it almost kind of looks more like from the art. You know, has the
Right.
stars in it, and the stars and the not
Yeah,
stars,
that's
but that one's got eyes.
part of
it. So, okay. Well, I think that I've about gotten everything done. I'm going to get done on here tonight anyway. That's going to be productive.
Indeed.
At this point, we just look forward to Kaldheim releasing. I am looking forward to that.
Same.
Honestly, I'll probably sit down and build some decks off of that. Part of me
Yeah.
is tempted to pre-order, but
He's not worth it.
because you get how many packs?
I mean, it's a
This-
decent number of packs, but it's like $1 a pack or something.
Gotcha. Which, we'll be getting those in the events.
Yep.
So, if I'm getting on and doing dailies, then yeah, that'll be good.
Yep.
So,
All right. Well, I think it's probably a good place for me to call it a night as well.
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and stop my remote desktop here.
All right.
And I think I will call it a little early this time.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you later.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.